This week we coming to you with another episode of Self-Care Prescriptions, and we jumping right in. This week, let's talk about work, Dr. Robyn, and let's talk about what everybody go through. Majority of the people out there overworked, underpaid, they don't have job security, or they dissatisfied with their job. But I also think it's a minority of people, kind of like myself. We love our job. We say, hey, it ain't work if you're having fun. So let's jump right in, because I know in your book you talk about vocational self-care. So hit me with some knowledge.
Yeah, so I'm happy that we're talking about this, particularly given that job security, I think, becomes more of a something that's on people's mind, especially with the holidays coming up. And, you know, the holidays require extra money, extra funds. And sometimes we look at our jobs and are either dissatisfied with the amount of money that we're making or just dissatisfied with the experiences that we're having on our jobs. And so I wanted to definitely include vocational self-care in the book, because it's so important that we take care of ourselves no matter where we find ourselves when it relates to our job, whether we're excited about our job and Monday comes and we're thrilled that it's Monday because we want to jump out of bed and go to work, or if we're dreading Monday because we don't like our job so much. And so one of the things that I talk about, if you end up finding yourself in that latter group where Monday is dreadful and you're not happy about your job or the work situation, is blooming where you are planted. And so the idea really with this is, what are you focused on? One piece of that is, what are you focused on when you go to work? So say you've decided that it's something about your job that you just don't like. Where's your mind when you're at work? What kind of thoughts are you allowing to take up residence in your brain throughout the day with regard to work? Because we know if we have a negative thought, an unhelpful thought that I hate this job and I don't want to be here, that's going to impact how we feel while we're working. And it's also going to impact the quality of the work that we're doing on our job site. And so the idea would be to try to find ways to manage those thoughts that you have going through your head. We know we cannot choose our thoughts necessarily, or we can't prevent negative thoughts from coming in our mind, but we can choose how much we focus on those thoughts and how much we allow those thoughts to roll around in our head. So is there a way that you can confront those thoughts in a different way so that they don't have such a negative impact on your mood while you're at work? So instead of saying I hate this job so much, saying like, this job is a stepping stone to my next job that I'm going to have, that I'm going to be super excited about. And so the idea of them blooming where your planet is, given that you're going to have more of a positive attitude about the job. Not that you deny how you feel, because it's true, maybe you really don't like it, and that's okay not to like it. But what I'm saying is not to focus so much on that to the point that it gets in the way of you doing the work that you are doing.
So you're saying I'm here at the job.
Accept that, yeah.
I'm at the job. I'm going to accept the fact that I'm at the job. So let me get my mind right and find something in my job. Because at one point, I probably took this job and had something good in it. So
yeah, maybe when you first got to the job, you were excited about it. You liked it. You applied for it for some reason. Maybe it was just for the paycheck, but something was like motivating to you. So can you potentially reconnect with that in some way? That one piece, that one aspect that you were excited about.
So reminisce on what I had, try to bring that moment back to get my mind right, to get through the day, and then, kind of figure out if my dissatisfaction is for a little season or if it's like permanent dissatisfaction that it's time to go.
Yeah, so the piece that we were talking about before is remembering. I think the way to sum that up is like remembering your why. Like, why did you choose that job in the first place? Like, was it somehow connected to a larger impact that you want to have on the world, or is it somehow connected to your own talents and special gifts that you have that you want to share with the world? But then also this piece about, I like that you mentioned, how can you really pinpoint what is it that I don't like about this job? Or is it just a season that I'm going through? Like, maybe is, everything in my life kind of feels like it's in shambles right now, and so that's just spilling over in the way that I feel about my job. Or is it one particular person on the job that I just don't get along with, and then that's coloring my view of my job and making me not like my job. So the idea here is to pinpoint, like, what is it specifically about the job that I don't like? And then once you identify that one piece or maybe multiple pieces that you don't like about the job, then is assessing, is this something that I have control over? Like, do I have the power, given my position on my job, do I have the power to do something about this? And I would encourage you to think really creatively, because sometimes we cut ourselves short and we don't realize the impact that we can have on our environment. So thinking about, is there some kind of impact that I can have on this situation? And if it's something that's beyond your control that you can't change, then the idea is, how can you change the attitude that you're bringing to that situation to make it less distressing to you and less unpleasant for you to be in that work situation? So can you change the attitude that you bring to that job?
Gotcha. So let's just hit it right now. What everybody struggle with at some point in their job, they got a coworker they don't like. They got somebody gossiping, spilling the tea, making them look bad, putting, trying to put salt on them, shade them and curve them on some other stuff. So let's just say it's a coworker issue. Give me some self-care, some mindfulness on dealing with a problematic coworker.
Yeah, I think the one piece is, of course, like limiting your interactions with that person. If it's any way possible that you can limit your interactions with them, that might be a way to go. Depending on your personality and how you're feeling about the situation, maybe it's an opportunity for you to stand up for yourself and have a conversation and advocate for what you need in that relationship, and be vocal to them about how their behavior is impacting you. And maybe you all can come to a shared understanding about how you prefer to be spoken to or how you prefer to be treated on the job site, and hopefully they can respect that. So I think that's an option: advocating for yourself, standing up for yourself, limiting your interactions that you're having with them. Another piece, maybe some people would say, is kill them with kindness. Like, can you just, like, no matter what they do, just let it roll off your back, knowing that they're not a really huge factor in your life on the large scale. It's somebody that you have to work with, but they don't really matter in the larger scheme of your life. And so can you look at their behavior in that way, like it's really not a huge factor for you, and so you're not going to let it bother you or kind of throw you off of your game at the job. So I think those are 3 ways that potentially you can manage a coworker who you just are not jiving with.
All right, so we got you going here now. So let me throw another one in since we got you. So it's holiday time, trying to have my folks over for Thanksgiving, trying to travel for Christmas. My money a little funny. So how I get my mind right, or go to the boss, say, hey, I think I need a pay raise because I'm overworked and underpaid.
Well, I think you wouldn't necessarily say that to your boss, that I'm overworked and underpaid. I don't know how. You have to think about how they will hear what you have to say, and saying it in a way that they will be able to hear it. But I think definitely, like, around the holidays, there's oftentimes ways for you to take on extra shifts depending on the work that you're doing. Sometimes they might offer like bonuses for like meeting sales quotas or things like that. So maybe just having that conversation with your boss. But then I think also thinking about, is there a way that you can turn another talent or another skill that you have into a side hustle? Like if you bake, or and everybody always telling you on Thanksgiving or Christmas how great your sweet potato pie is. Like, can you start selling those? Because other people are going to need those desserts around the holidays. Or, can you dog sit? Do you love animals, pets? Is there a way that you can do that kind of in the evenings or on the weekends? So kind of thinking about interests that you have, talents that you have, or skills that you have that you can monetize. And I think a lot of times we underestimate what people will pay for, because a lot of times people are looking for convenience. And if you can find a way to make their lives less stressful and cut out a chore for them that you're willing to do, that you love to do, that you're talented at doing, you can make some money from that. So I think, being willing to talk to your boss or your employer about opportunities for you to make more money or to get a raise, but then also kind of creating your own lane outside of your work so you can have multiple streams of income.
So that's what's up. So you say go back to the first point, pinpoint what I'm actually lacking. So I know I want money for Thanksgiving, for Christmas. So figure out what I'm trying to get. Maybe I can make a side hustle off of something, or actually sharpen my pencil before I go to the boss to figure out how much more I need, or what I bring to the table, and hey, be mindful that here's the things I'm doing, here's where I'm trying to go, here's what I'm trying to make, or just get the side hustle for the Christmas season if all I'm needing is some extra cash for Christmas.
Yeah, so it's really about identifying, like you said, what you need, what your needs are with regard to the job, and then going from there and really executing a plan. I like what you said, sharpening your pencil, so being very thoughtful about if you are going to approach your boss about a raise, or potentially there are maybe opportunities for advancement where there's another level up that you can go into, and speaking very thoughtfully and very clearly and very convincingly about what you bring to the table. And so I think a part of that is being able to own your gifts, your talents, and what you contribute that is unique from everybody else on the work site. Not that you think you're better than them, but just being able to have that confidence and that swagger to know that you are deserving of what you're asking for, and you have legitimate reasons for asking for that.
All right, so let's flip it around now. We done talked about some kind of borderline negative stuff, so let's go positive and talk about the folks that love their job. They workaholics, can't get them out the office, can't get them off their cell phone, off the computer. Like, hit us with some self-care for those type people.
Yes, so I think the challenge or the risk with that when you love your job so much is that you can just burn out because you're constantly doing it all the time, that you have no time to recharge yourself. You have no time for taking space away and being creative, like thinking about how to creatively solve problems that you might come into contact with. And sometimes we need that distance away from our work and from our job to have a new perspective and bring fresh ideas that are going to be exciting for us. And so I would say with self-care for someone who loves their job, a piece of that could be, can you practice taking breaks? Like, can you observe maybe taking breaks away from your email on the weekend, or having maybe one day out the weekend, or exercising a rule that after a certain time at night that you're gonna kind of sign off from work and really allow yourself to sleep. Because I know one thing that people struggle with who love their job sometimes is that they just don't get enough sleep because they're staying up late at night, then they're getting up early in the morning, and their sleep is really suffering. And believe it or not, science tells us that even as adults, we still need 8 hours of sleep. Like, that is the optimal amount of sleep for us. And I know a lot of us can and do function with much less hours of sleep than that. But in order for us to be at our best, that's what we need. So can you implement self-care by setting up yourself a nice bedtime routine and challenging yourself to go to sleep at a consistent hour and a sane hour each and every night? Or can you set yourself up to, again, like I said, take those breaks away from email on the weekends or in the evenings? Another piece too is, can you actually eat lunch at work? Because I know a lot of times when people are excited, when they're in high demand on their jobs, they don't even eat lunch. Sometimes they work through their lunch break. So another self-care activity is, can you just eat your lunch break and really allow it to be a break where you're not multitasking, you're not eating while you're checking email, while you're meeting with a colleague, but you're just really eating and allowing yourself to have a mental and a physical break, and allowing your body to rest and recharge in the middle of the day.
All right, I feel that's really good. To me, it just kept hitting, pinpoint something. Pinpoint, try to get 8 hours of sleep. Even if you can't get 8, pinpoint sleep and try to get closest to 8 as you can get. Or just take your lunch, which is a 1 hour lunch break, but can I eat my lunch uninterrupted? So going back to just pinpoint something, try to make it happen.
Yeah, I like that. What you're pointing to is that when we're implementing self-care, whether it's on the job or in any area of our life, we need to start small. Start with one thing. Be very simple, keep it simple, and do something, choose something to start with that's doable, that's manageable. So you don't want to just kind of like throw the baby out with the bathwater and just kind of try to do everything all at once. But can you pick one small manageable thing to start with? Give yourself some success with implementing that one self-care activity, and then build your way up from there.
That's what's up. I like it. Pinpoint it. Crawl before you walk.
Exactly.
There you go. Any other tips or pointers that we can do from this week to next week to start getting our mind right for some vocational self-care?
Yeah, I mean, I think definitely just, again, pinpointing what is it that you need most. Remember, self-care is all about what do I need? Asking yourself that fundamental question of what do I need? Not what do I want, but what do I need? What's going to be healthy for me on a vocational level? And a lot of times that's having a job where you can actually utilize your skills, where you feel like your talents are being used. And so what do you need with regard to vocational self-care? And then can you have the courage to give yourself what it is you need, whether it's more fulfilling work or more fulfilling work tasks, or whether it's more breaks.
But we appreciate you for that knowledge and always hitting us with good stuff. And I think this really gonna hit home for a lot of people, because majority of the folks out there got jobs. We either happy or unhappy. Most people are one or the other. It really don't seem like it's a middle ground for a lot of folks. But
I think that's true. And so I wanted to ask you, since you are very happy with their job and you're one of the few people that are excited and thrilled, are there ways that you incorporate self-care into the way that you do your work?
I don't think I really partake in self-care like I should. I'm like a normal, I'm like the common folk. I'm petty, I'm messy, I'm addicted to my phone. So I look at my phone, I look at memes, I do all kinds of stuff that I probably shouldn't do. But I think what you just said to me today was pinpoint something, and it's up to me to figure out which one I want to pinpoint. So I'm gonna actually pinpoint sleep and try to get close as I can to that 8 hours, and crawl before I walk. Try sleep. Maybe next week I feel adventurous to try to take a lunch and actually leave the office and go somewhere and eat lunch, but I ain't gonna try to conquer the world overnight. So I'm gonna work at it and try to get there, and I'll check in with you and let you know if it really worked.
Okay, we'll hold you accountable.
All right, well, once again, Dr. Robyn, we appreciate you.
Thank you for taking better care of you and for listening to another episode of Self-Care Prescriptions. Stay connected and tuned up with Dr. Robyn Gobin. Visit RobynGobin.com or follow us on all platforms at Dr. Robyn Gobin. Stay healthy and stay balanced with Self-Care Prescriptions.